Okay. Here we go. I'm trying again. We got a new competition season coming up. I'm gonna see if I can pull it off this time. Probably do the same tunes that I had started trying to get ready last year. I don't know. I'll take a look at them, but it's been a minute since I played my pipes at all. I'd imagine this is a relatable experience for most pipers. Sometimes for a clear reason, like you had something come up, and sometimes, maybe more often, for no reason at all. No particular reason at all. You just end up going a while without playing pipes. I have been really, and remain really enthusiastic about flute lately, and there's such a part of it honestly is convenience. There's such a convenience to having, especially the flute. My flute is one of the carbon fiber flutes, and so it's pretty darn durable and doesn't take a lot of maintenance and stuff, and so it's so easy to toss it in the bag and take it to work and then get it out for a lunch break and have a few tunes. And the pipes, once they're set up, don't take a whole lot more than that, really, but it feels like more. And so that's part of it, honestly. But it's something that Mark, he's the Illin Piping Mark, who was on the show. This has been a couple years ago now. He does a lot of Irish session stuff here locally. That's what he mentioned the last time we got together to look at different types of small pipes and stuff like that. Just that he likes having a flute. Sometimes he doesn't feel like blowing up the bag, you just get right to it. Anyway, I'm rambling. All I'm saying is I played a gig at the beginning of last month, and as I'm recording this, we're at the beginning of this month. So I played a gig kind of toward the beginning of January, and it's now February, so it's probably been about a month that I haven't played my pipes. So I've got them in the car, taking them to work, gonna play them at lunch, which I feel excited about. I feel like this will be fun. It'll be fun to dig into this again. I also have a little bit of dread over it, because after a time of not playing, that first time back is always a little bit rough, a little bit discouraging, and I probably should touch up the bag seasoning and double check all the, or rather, when I check the joints, I bet I'm going to find some that I could use a little tightening up, and probably should even take stuff apart and oil them. I don't know, it's been a minute, but anyway, here we go again. Let's see if this one, success obviously does not look like winning. That'd be silly. But success does look like getting some tunes out at least one competition this year. That's what I'm shooting for. You know what? I'm going to lower the bar a little more. At least one tune at least one competition, and I'm going to call it success. That's what we're going for here. Alright, I don't want to mess up again. Being too late for stuff. So, going over to Wuspaba. This seems updated. There's just a button right on the website that says renew your Wuspaba membership for 2026. That's convenient. Very nice. Soloist, that's me. $35. That's what I want. Oh, I must log in. All right, this is gonna take a minute. I won't make me trying to figure out what my login password, username and password were a part of the podcast episode. That's definitely going too far. Yeah, login failed. Dag nabbit. Okay. While I'm here though, I've been thinking, can you solo without a hat? I'm so uncomfortable on these hot summer days going out to solo, and really the whole getup. Mostly the socks. I think I've talked about that before. It's mostly the socks. I'm not wearing the hats either. I wear hats, the ones with brims and stuff like that. Generally keep kind of a tidy desk, but I have a stack of papers on this little side table at work that are all sheet music. Flute tunes I've been working on, and drum exercises I wanted to take home to my kid. And I'm hoping my solo tune, yeah, there we go, P-Rock Donald Do, and the Hows or Hughes or Haws of Cromdale. Still with tape on it from where I taped it up in the shop last year. Perfect. These yellowed, dusty copies. Get right back to it. I've got some work to do out in the warehouse this morning anyway, so I'm going to take my pipes out there with me and sneak in a little tune every few minutes. For the sake of content, I'm going to fire them up right now, cold, after a month of not playing, and just try to do P-Rock Donald Do and see what it sounds like. It ain't going to be pretty. It's nice, though, because I kind of expect it to not be pretty. I want it to not be pretty. That way, like, if this is really bad, then the version that I play 3 months from now, 4 months from now, 5 months from now, will, at least by comparison, be alright. We're on the very cusp of April now, and I managed to go, I don't even know how long. I'd have to go back and look. I went a few weeks at least, maybe a whole month without playing my Highland pipes. So, played my small pipes a little bit during that time, and mostly just flute, which is still not enough flute, that's for sure. I went to bed last night just thinking, maybe I should go out to the garage and play the flute a bit instead of sleeping. But got him out yesterday. Took him to work yesterday and got him out during a lunch break, and was pleasantly surprised to find everything was still pretty tight. Tuning was okay. And I'm still trying to decide what tune, oh man, I might have, I wonder if I did the same thing again as last year. I know I registered with Westpaba, but the Utah games are coming up first in June and then Payson in July. I'll do at least those two, I think. I wonder if I can sign up for either, and if surely not. Surely I've not missed it, because it's only almost April right now. We're still at the tail end of March. I better check today, though, see if I can sign up for the Utah games yet. But I'm still thinking 6/8. I just wasn't sure which 6/8, and so like yesterday when I got the pipes out, I was just kind of like, let's just see where my fingers naturally go, you know. And it wasn't P-Rock Donald Do. It was a really well-known 6/8 march whose name I can't remember. It wouldn't be Athol Highlanders, is it? I think it might be. Is that a 6/8? I'll have to look when I get there. Anyway, I checked all the joints yesterday, and all the joints were tight. One of the tuning pins is just a little bit loose, and I've got some hemp at work, so I'm going to tighten that up a little bit later today. Got my pipes with me again. Should probably pay some closer attention to the bag. Maybe add just a little dollop of seasoning to it. Make sure it's all nice and goopy in there. Not too goopy, just the right amount of goopy. And then I haven't oiled the pipes in a while. It's probably been a whole year. Should probably do that too. I've got a minute now, so I'm just gonna hop on and check, see if I can tell if I can sign up for the Utah games yet. I'm on the Westpaba events page, scrolling down to June. I actually don't see Utah yet. I do see Payson for July though. Maybe I'll just get signed up for that right away, so I at least don't miss that. Carrie Welton is running the games. She's, or at least the piping competition. She was my high school pipe band instructor. Let's see here. So if I click on the R2 Sports link from there, yes. Piping. We want... Oh, what are our options? We've got 2-4 March grade 3, 6-8 March grade 3. That's what we're looking for. Okay, oh shoot. And as long as I'm doing it anyway, should I do a 2-4 as well? Yeah, I wasn't a stack of music from last year. Let's see. Okay, that was Athol Highlanders I was thinking of. That's a 6-8. I'm going to do that or Pibrox. Pibroch O'Donnell do. So we're good for a 6-8 March. What about 2-4s? We got the Haws, the Hows, the Hughes of Cromdale. Duncan McInnes as well. John McCall's March to Kill Bowie's another 2-4. Oh. I forgot I was thinking about doing Patty's Leather Breeches too. That would be a jig. Should I just do all 6-8s? It kind of feels like I'm doing one event. Might as well do two, you know? I could do a jig. That's a cool tune. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do 2 6-8s. I'm going to do Patty's Leather Breeches as a jig, and then I will do either Pibroch O'Donnell do or Athol Highlanders as a march. Yeah. It's not even April yet. I got time. Maybe I've just signed in wrong. You know, in the past, I've helped organize some of the competitions, and so I have, like, some various, I'd at least have in the past had, like, permissions for some different admin stuff. I wonder if I'm, like, signed in as not a user, and so I can't sign up but I signed up for the Utah games. I have a receipt showing that I did. Oh, my goodness. Well, that was frustrating. I don't know. Hopefully it's just that the event isn't actually open for registration yet. I think that list of contestants must have been for the 2021 competition that I kept accidentally clicking into. Might have just been me. Hopefully it wasn't just me, or I don't know. I accept that I'm a little bit thick sometimes. The older I get, the more out of touch I am with how technology stuff works. This is silly though, because it's like a technology that just feels so very old. You'd think I'd be feeling very native with it. Instead, I'm going to play my pipes. Alright, so here they are cold. I played yesterday, but let's see if Pibroch O'Donnell do or Athol Highlanders comes on first. That was Pibroch, though I'm not sure if that was in the right order. So maybe that's an indication that I ought to go back to Pibroch O'Donnell do. Maybe I'll just work on them both and just have both ready and see what happens day of. The judge will be like, "What are you playing?" I'll be like, we'll see. Alright, well here I am, second week of May. I'm sitting in my little shed office in the backyard. Right now I am adding hemp to my pipes. So of course I went weeks again without playing. I don't know. I was having like a lot of like work stress and vehicle problems, and we had a couple like medical diagnoses come into the family and stuff like that. Things just got, real busy. That's how life goes, I guess. And then I started experiencing some kind of anxiety for the first time too. Like I'd get little attacks and stuff. It just made it really hard to feel like there was any bandwidth for anything. Even just the normal stuff you gotta do, let alone piping. But through it, my wife's been really supportive. She keeps telling me, go in the backyard and play your pipes. You're not gonna have another year where you signed up and didn't play. You're gonna go compete. And it's nice of her, I appreciate it. Anyway, it's finally getting hot. Not super hot yet, but warmer than it has been yet this year. So I was in the backyard playing for a few minutes today. And I started a new reed. I realized I've had this elevation chanter for, I mean, a couple years, I think, at this point. And it's great, you know. But I got some of Adrian Melvin's special elevation reeds as well a little while after I got the chanter. And I just realized that, like, I've been playing a standard Melvin reed. And I had thought at the time that I ordered the elevation reeds, just like, oh yeah, well, this one's working great. I'll just try one of those next, you know. And, you know, my playing has been infrequent enough that I'm really making reeds last. So, not a problem I usually have, but I noticed that my reed, it is getting old. So this isn't a dig on Adrian. I've had that reed in there for a long time, and it's played really well. And really, it still has good sound. Like, it's still got a strong body to it and stuff. But what happened was my C was just too flat, with no tape on it. Kept trying to move it around and stuff, and I just thought, you know, there's a couple other little things about it that are making me think this reed's on its way out. I'll just get ahead of it, because at this point I've got like approximately a month before the first competition I'm planning to do. So I'll get a new reed started. So I popped one of those elevation reeds in there, dry as a bone. I mean, it had been sitting in a box where I keep my new reeds for a very long time. I mean, really, probably more than a year and a half, maybe even more than 2 years. So dry, and it's dry here anyway where I live, and I played on it for a few minutes. I thought, this is crazy. So I don't know if I'm going to make Adrian Melvin or anybody else cringe if they ever find out I did this, but I just soaked it in water. I used a spray bottle and sprayed it on the outside, and then dripped water down inside of it as well, and blew that water through it and just let it soak for a few minutes, and then it was dry as a bone again, like just a couple minutes later. And I thought, that's a thirsty reed. So I did that a few times, and then I put it in, playing like a champ. I'll tell you what, really sounding good body to that reed. I don't mean me, I'm not sounding good yet. I'm hoping to kind of get that daily play in, you know, for a few weeks and get into the zone, but the reed sounded great. Anyway, what am I going on about? I'm sitting here now listening to Andrew Douglas teach on the Piper's Dojo, the P-Brock course that he's got on there. Partly because I'm curious. I'm P-Brock curious enough to be willing to try it at this point. And partly because I think we're going to be talking about it in the Dojo podcast episode. I'm prepping some notes and stuff too. But it's a pleasant way to spend the afternoon. Pretty well set on Athol Highlanders for my competition 6-8, though I signed up for something else, and you probably just barely heard it in the episode. I don't remember now what else I signed up for. But my wife says she likes it. She refers to it as the one that goes deedly deedly deedly, and I was like, that's all bagpipe songs, you know. But it's funny, our youngest kid now also says, Dad, you gonna play bagpipes deedly dee? So anyway, if she likes it, that's good enough for me. I'm gonna play the Athol Highlanders is how I've always said it, because I think it's funny to pretend like you have a lisp. But I have heard other people say Atoll Highlanders or Atoll Highlanders, so I don't know. But probably going to do that tune. I'm pretty, I know I keep going back and forth. Still did play P-Brock of Donald Do today and thought, that's a pretty nice tune, but no, I think that's the way I'm going to go. But the heat, I was out there playing in the sun, and with that new reed going in, you know, I don't know if I've ever had a new reed that wasn't a little flat compared to the previous one. You know, they kind of work their way up over time. So I was taking my drones down to match it just so, you know, figuring it'll climb, but that way I could just have a more pleasant time playing in the meantime. And that heat is sure affecting them. All of a sudden, all the hemp needs redone. So I'm re-hemping everything right now while I listen to Andrew Douglas, and then I'm going to go play in the backyard a little bit more, hopefully. And maybe I'll put in another sound sample right here of how I'm playing right now. And here's hoping it won't sound great, so that then by the time I'm doing the competition, there'll be a clear improvement. More likely it won't sound great, and it'll still not sound great by the end of the episode, but we'll see. So now it's the middle of May 16th, and I'm trying to, I've been trying to get up the courage, you might say, to send a recording over to my buddy Swan, see what he thinks. Now, that's not fair to Swan. He's not a mean person or anything like that. It's just me being in my head about a competition tune and stuff like that. I take it too seriously, maybe. I need to just chill about it a little bit. And I was talking with him the other day, and he was very encouraging. He did tell me something like, don't get too stressed out about it. Swan, to be clear, plays at a really high level. He plays with the Wasatch Grade 2 right now. He's I really admire his ear for tuning and for tone. really good fingers, just a really strong player. And I would like to play like Swan someday. But very encouraging. And he did tell me something like, just something like, don't stress too much about it and just try to think like, just you're going to try to play good music for this person who's sitting in front of you, who happens to be a judge. But, like, don't stress too much about the details. Just kind of try to make good music. And it was very encouraging. So here's what I'm thinking for Athol Highlanders. I'm going to try it right now. I'm just kind of finding a groove where I feel, pretty comfortable, interested. It feels musical, if I can pull it off at least. But I might be pushing the envelope a little bit too much. I don't know. I'm very interested in having like a slight variation the second time through on each part. I like playing with the timing in this one, like going from swung to kind of, it's like, it's not, maybe it's straight, but it feels kind of more like it's like a triplet thing. I don't know. Here, I'll do a recording now though, see how it goes. And I will just, however it goes, I will include it in the episode, even if it's not what I would like it to be, which I'm sure it won't be. I'm going to try marching back and forth. I'm in my backyard right now. I'll just set this recorder on a fence post and march back and forth on the cement that's behind my house here. I tried it on the grass, but my lawn is very lumpy. There's a lot of divots and hills and stuff, and I kind of twinged my ankle a couple times, so I'll not risk that. And what else? What else to say about it? I'm also feeling very self-conscious about my tuning. I do in general. I just barely spent like 10 minutes just moving my drones back and forth and just being like, man, I can't even tell. Is that in? Is it not? I can't even tell. So I'm just going to go for it in the spirit of just kind of honesty and being real here. And here's where it's at right now, middle of May. I think I've got about a month. I forget what day that Utah Scottish Festival is in June. But it's coming up, so I've got, I don't know, somewhere between 3 and 4 weeks. Athol Highlanders, let's see how this goes. The neighbor's dog starts going nuts every time I play too, so we'll see if that comes through or not. Also, the last few times I've played this, I've easily accidentally gone into Pibroch of Donald Do and the high A part. So, yeah, we'll see if that happens too. Here we go. Well, that didn't go quite right. What I was trying the other day that I wanted to get down is a way of kind of doing the last 2 bars of the fourth part being a repeat of the last 2 bars of the third part, because I just feel like it feels like more of a finish to go back to that high A part. But I think what I just barely did was just play straight through all 4 parts and then go to part of Pibroch of Donald Do again. So I'll keep working on that, and maybe we'll have one more check-in before the competition. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's too much messing around with timing and stuff like that. Or maybe that's just right. I don't know. It does feel fun. So that's something. There's part of me that's like, well, come on, man, just follow your heart. Do what's fun. But I'm not interested in being like, showing up and being like, I'm here to bend the rules and do things different. Like, that's not at all what I'm interested in. Don't want to be like that. So I want to, like, respect the format of the competition and play within that. But also have fun with it. And, it's a common enough tune that I feel a little bit like putting some kind of unique spin on it might be a good idea. Either for sake of the competition or just for sake of entertaining the judge or entertaining myself. I don't know. But we'll see. Well, it's now June 10th, and the Utah Scottish Festival is in, 3 days? It's this weekend. And, in the meantime, I have gone back and forth a bunch about whether I'm going to play it all or not, and I'm still not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to at least do the 6/8. I'd kind of forgotten for a while that I signed up for the jig as well, and so this week, a day or two ago, it was Monday, so it was 2 days ago, I signed up for the Payson Scottish Festival, which is next month, and the options there for grade 3 were 6/8 that I felt like I could do, were 6/8 and 2/4. And I thought, well, I could find a 2/4 I've played before. And I did find Liberton Pipe Band is one that we played a while ago in Garden Valley Pipe Band. And so I thought, I could dust that one off real quick. So I signed up for the 6/8 and the 2/4 for Payson. Now I'll kind of try to scramble to get Liberton up and ready after this weekend. And I'm just focusing on, not Pete Rockadonaldoo, the other one, Athol Highlanders. I got to figure out how to pronounce that. Is it Athol Highlanders or Athol Highlanders? I got to figure that out so I don't look like a dummy when I go in and tell the judge what I'm playing. But I was looking at Afternoon at the Green Dragon again, and I was like, man, I just don't think I can have this ready in time. So I was looking for other jigs, and I think I'm going to try to learn the curlew. But, I don't know. There's a cool one that Ross Ainsley and Bridget Heimbel do on that last CD. It's somebody's mare. It's like John Stutton's mare, John Bradley's mare, John something, somebody's mare. I like that one a lot too, but it's pretty tricky. Anyway, so maybe I'll get a jig ready for next year. But I sent my kind of just having fun with it, like let's just see how it feels version of Athol Highlanders to a few friends, and they're really nice about it, and they're like, yeah, that's a lot of fun, really fun, but pretty universally, there was like then either, it kind of ranged from like either like, I don't really know what judges are looking for in this, but it's like not maybe that, to even a good friend who I won't name because I don't want to embarrass them or anything like that. Not that they would be embarrassed about having said this, but like, I'll keep everything anonymous here, but a good friend who very kindly said, like, as a person, I love that. That's fun. That's cool, right? They said, as a person, I love it. As a judge, I hate it. This is a person who does some judging. And so, per my counsel, per my legal counsel, per my crew's feedback, I'm going to try to get back closer to sort of competition style for it. Well, here we are now at the end of June. I did not make it to the Utah Scottish Festival where I had planned to compete with the 6/8 and a jig. And so now, but I did manage to sign up for the Payson Games, which will be in July. As of right now, that's in about 2 weeks. So, right now what I'm trying to do is get out my pipes every day at work for a little break here and there. I'm a little bit worried. The reed that I started breaking in a couple months ago, luck of the draw and stuff like that, right? It seems so. It's calling for higher pressure than what the previous reed had been calling for, which is to be expected maybe with a new reed compared to an old one, So I've adjusted all the drones out, and by which I mean like I've opened up the tongues a lot, like just kind of adjusted it and then adjusted it more and then more and then more. And so like the drones are pretty open right now, which takes more air, but I kind of like the sound of them. It's kind of a little bit more what would you say, brash or aggressive, but like in a very positive way. I kind of like the way they're sounding, so I'm not unhappy about that. But now the reed is actually, it's started to squeak a little bit under pressure, and so now where I've got the drones open quite a bit, I don't know, it's the reed is in a funny spot right now where it's like, to play well, it needs a little more pressure than I maybe usually would give. So I've adjusted the drones to sit well with that. However, it's starting to squeak under that much pressure. And so then I try pulling back a little bit on the chanter, and then the drones aren't, now the drones aren't quite where they would want to be. And then now I'm kind of, I feel a little bit like the space the margin that I have between getting squeaks from too much pressure versus having chanter sound disappear in the middle of some embellishments because of not quite enough pressure is kind of narrow right now. So I'm hoping, I'm honestly right now, I'm just kind of hoping that playing more will make that margin a little bigger, because if it breaks the reed in a little more, the easy end of that will open up some more. And so I might end up closing the tongues of the drones up a little bit in the next little while, if it goes the way that I'm kind of hoping it will, but we'll see. And I've been thinking about this method or this approach. This is new to me as of just like last year, thinking about competition tunes in this way. And that is what I've been trying to think to myself is, well, okay, so I'm not decided that this is like the best way to do things. It's just like a way to do things, where previously what I've done, and I think there's value in it, is I've taken a setting of the tune I want to learn for the competition, and I've learned that setting as it is written with very little variation, if any at all, from the way it's written down on the sheet. I think that that's good, and I think the main value for me personally, at least, in that is that there are some embellishments and like rhythm choices and stuff like that I wouldn't have made myself, and so they don't feel like I almost said supernatural. they don't feel particularly natural, and so it kind of takes some work, some bending of my head to get around like, okay, why would we make that choice? Oh, okay. And eventually you get to like, oh, okay, I see it now. Yeah, this does feel good. This does make sense. And it's a good brain workout and a finger workout to like do a tune the way someone else would do it. If I feel like it kind of stretches you a little bit, kind of forces you to do things in a way that doesn't come fully naturally, and so you have to kind of develop like more, I don't know, like kind of openness to like, okay, maybe I wouldn't have chosen, an E doubling there. I would have done something else, but this person chose an E doubling, so I'll do the E doubling. And then given some time, it's almost like that style of play, whatever it is, that other person's fingerprint on the music, can become kind of incorporated into my own like tool shed of options. So I feel like that's a valuable way to approach doing tunes for sure. And this, like, I'm no authority. this is just my thought process put out loud. I'm not saying that this should be the way it is for anybody else, and maybe it's not good for me either, I don't know. So the new thing, the alternative to that I've been trying the last year or two, is partly like a matter of survival in a way. It's like, all right, if I want to be able to get something ready, my time is very limited, and so maybe I don't really have time to like focus enough for enough sessions for long enough to get something that doesn't feel fully natural down. A more practical way, like a shorter road to something presentable, would be to instead go with the melody line and see, after repeat play, what embellishments, what rhythmic choices, etc. kind of fall into place naturally, and just kind of go with that, So I don't think that I think that it loses that benefit of like sort of adding to the tool shed, but I think it's nice, it's fun, and I think it maybe has been good in a way where I feel this maybe will sound a little woo woo, a little intangible, a little maybe even self-aggrandizing in a way, which I don't think I mean it in that way, but just like doing these tunes in that way maybe has had an alternative benefit of getting a better feel for what my preferences are at this point. Which I think will change. Probably everybody's style of play does change over time, inevitably and forever, just because you're always encountering other people playing and new ideas, and even your own playing. You kind of like, sometimes you make a mistake and you kind of go, actually that was kind of cool, I wonder if I could do it again. So like it's always changing. So I don't mean like this is my musical fingerprint, but rather just like, oh, this seems to be why, like I'm falling into these patterns or these feelings or these these flavorings, at least right now. And it's kind of fun to think about, well, why would that be? There have been a few little things that have come up pretty naturally, kind of unbidden in my pipe playing, doing it this way in the last couple months, that I've kind of thought like, well, where is that coming from? And I think it's coming from flute. It's from having played the flute so much lately, or other things that my good friend John Charles caught, that like there were some sort of rhythmic run things that I was doing that I thought for sure were coming from listening to a lot of gaita, Spanish gaita music, Galician gaita. So anyway, that's been a fun alternative way of approaching it. So the beginnings of what I think might be kind of a practice, right? A good, maybe it's kind of a practice. I don't know if it's a good one or not, but it has been to kind of like let myself just relax into the melody and play it however it feels natural to play it. And so far, it seems like that will always be at least somewhat outside of the envelope of what is like appropriate to the competition setting, which that's not to be like, oh, I'm expanding beyond the confines of the competition. That's not what I mean, of course. But just like competition being a thing, you do things in a certain way based on the venue where you are. You read the room, that kind of thing, right? So inevitably, kind of just settling down and letting it happen how it's going to happen. There are going to be some elements of the way that the tune comes out that like wouldn't really make sense in a competition setting. And so like having gone through that process though, and just kind of like settled into the melody, it's like I've been doing this with Liberton Pipe Band over the last couple weeks, and like as I settle into it, it sounds something like this. And this is where I insert a recording of Liberton Pipe Band. And now having settled into that and been like, okay, so that's like kind of like how it comes out most naturally. Now it's a process of like kind of like trimming back the elements that don't make sense in a competition setting. And what I'm left with is a setting that both feels pretty darn natural and is going to be pretty well at home in competition. At least I think that it's got those two things. And this is a different way of approaching getting a tune ready for competition. It's not something I've done in the past, but I've found it to be fun and kind of rewarding, interesting, certainly. I'm not saying that like this is the way I'll always do it forever, but it's working for me right now. And there's part of me too that feels like, yeah, that practical element of like, look, if I want to compete, this is maybe the most practical way for me to do that right now. Trying to do it in a different way might not be practical, and in a way, this is kind of one of those done is better than perfect kind of situations, where it's like, doing it in however I can do it is better than not doing it at all, right? Something like that, maybe. So, anyway, here we are. I think we're nearing the end of the episode at this point. The next thing I expect to have happen in this episode would be maybe a little bit of monologue on the way to the competition itself. I'm going to try to set up the microphone somewhere where it can capture how it comes out in front of the judge. And then, I'll read what the judge's feedback is afterward, without sharing judges' names, of course, because I wouldn't want to make anybody sound mean, because I'm sure there'll be negative feedback, but it is not negative feedback. Anyway, I probably won't include this part of the monologue in the episode, but there we go. Alrighty, well, here we are. The day has come. It's Friday. It's a day sooner than I was actually thinking I would be playing for the Payson Scottish Festival. I was thinking all the competitions would be on Saturday, but this year they decided to do and they've done this before too, so I should have thought of it, but solo competitions are going to be Friday evening, so I'm on my way down to Payson now. I actually hadn't realized until the other day. I heard from Johnny Miner, who's been on the show before, a good friend here locally, who we actually live pretty near the same neighborhood, and recently almost ended up living on the same street, which would have been funny. Very bagpipe dense area for the town here. But Johnny and I share a lot of gigs whenever one of us, has one that we can't get to or something like that. And he reached out to me about a gig that's actually going to be tomorrow, a little birthday party here close by. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think I can do it, though I am competing down in Payson. He was like, oh, yeah, but are you with a band or just solos? And I was like, oh, just solos this year. And he's like, oh, pretty sure those are all Friday night. So, good thing he mentioned that. So I checked it out. Yeah, I got... So here's the situation as I go into this. And a thought. I'd been hauling my bagpipes to work with me, and my family and I are all staying a lot of nights right now out at my in-laws' house because my parents' in-law are out of town, but they have some kids who need pretty much full-time care, and so we're kind of rotating that with some of their other kids and other family members, and so we've been out there quite a bit. And so between home and out there and going to work, I've been hauling my pipes with me all these places for like a week, or had been for like a week, and never playing them. So I kind of had started building up, how you play your pipes consistently for a few days and like everything starts going better. Everything seems to tighten up, not just with your playing but with the instrument. I kind of got there and then I kind of lost it a little bit, but I think I got it back reasonably well the last like 3 days since realizing it was going to be on Friday instead of Saturday. I don't know what I was thinking if I thought that I could just go all the way until Saturday morning and then suddenly crunch time. That would be silly, but I'm really good at procrastinating. So anyway, here's what I've done. I've had my pipes with me at work for the last 3 days, and each of the last 3 days I have at some point got them out, played them in the warehouse at work, which is like hot but not in the sun, which is actually going to be perfect, I think, in terms of playing them in approximately the conditions they'll be in tonight for the competition. I'd play through my 2 marches once or twice each, then put the pipes down, let them sit for a bit while I go back and do some more work, and then go do it again, and sometimes even did it a 3rd time before going home. And I was thinking about it just yesterday that, like, this is not the kind of, like, playing all the time for the 10 days leading up to it that I had intended to do, that I'd pictured myself doing. And so I could feel unprepared because of that. But they're pretty familiar tunes. And, I don't mean this in a big-headed way, but I just mean, like, I've been playing these tunes for years, like, I'm pretty comfortable with at least, like, the melody lines, And for some reason, it just kind of occurred to me yesterday, like, actually, I think that this has been good for me. The, like, kind of just play the solo pieces once or twice and maybe something else for fun, and then put it down, walk away, come back, play it once or twice, and let that be enough for the day. I think it's been good for me. It's like I feel more relaxed than I think I would have. So like recently, as well as in the past, I often, when getting ready for something like a competition or a performance that had very specific tunes tied to it, I would, for practice, play those tunes over and over and over again. And I still think that that's a good thing to do. I at least get something out of that. Like almost, you can get to where you're almost like in a trance playing the same thing over and over again. And I feel like that's a way that I get it into my bones, and then I can start kind of doing variations and kind of really feel like I've got it deep inside me, so I'm not going to lose it when the nerves are high. But I feel kind of like I'm digging this rhythm of like that kind of stuff has happened with these tunes, but it happened a while ago. And I'm not saying this is like, I'm not prescribing this for everybody, but I think I can see how this kind of accidentally worked well for me, where like the crunch time stuff in that way kind of happened already. And now in the week or so leading up to the event, it's like maintenance, like pretty casually playing a little tuning tweak here or there, but playing a bit, but not overdoing it. Because I do find that, like, especially if I'm like really focusing on getting something exactly a certain way, I can play it over and over again, and I will start in some cases kind of entering that way of thinking where it's like things don't make sense anymore. And like mistakes actually start to increase after I've played it like a bunch of times in a row, And so this playing it two-ish times, 2 or 3 times a day, I'm not getting into that space, but I am keeping the tunes kind of fresh in the mind and on the fingers, and keeping the pipes, with some warm air blowing through them and stuff like that. So I think that's been good. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I also feel like pretty chill right now, which I'm pleased to be able to say. I don't feel like stressed out of my mind. I've got a little bit of nerves, and I think I will when it's time to step up and play. But there's, I'm not setting my heart on getting medals or anything like that. Just pretty happy to be in a spot where I feel, reasonably prepared with each of these tunes, and I think it'll be fun to play them. So we'll see how that goes. I think the next little sound segment might actually be, so my plan is I've got a little stand for my mic, my cool little stand that I made from some old drone pieces. Just hoping that the judges won't mind me setting that up kind of off to the side on the ground, a little ways from the table where they're sitting. And that's the plan. I think I'm doing the 2/4 first, and then the 6/8 afterward. And that is why it's good to develop parallel parking skills. I'm pretty darn close to the park. Parked close to the park. That's not bad. Let's see, I've got about a half hour to my first playtime, so that's not too bad. Walk over and start warming up and scoping the tables out, make sure I know where I'm going. Here we go. My main worry has been that I'd launch into a different tune. Hopefully it's at least a 2/4, right? Right. Thank you, sir. For the chapter view. I'm just here to make you comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I feel happy right now. I'm glad I did it, and I think the pieces could have gone better. I had little plans and ideas of little things I would do that I didn't end up happening, but that's okay. I'm going to pause here in the car right now and just read the judges' sheets. See what we've got. So, in order of play for the 2-4, let's see. Oh, very nice to hear. They said I was in the upper quartile of the performance level. Not above grade level, that's okay. But upper quartile, that's very flattering. I guess maybe I should pre-read this because, handwriting is ever difficult. No, this looks doable. Okay, 4th place, that's flattering. Very nice. And this person said of that playing of Liberton Pipe Band, nice, spirited, and lively tempo. Unique arrangement of this tune. That's a nice way to put it. I probably was still a little bit not quite in competition form. I did do a couple little variations sometimes. I thought it was pretty chill, but maybe I was doing too much of that for a competition at least. Let's see. Work to deliver a bit more march pulse. Third part. Let's see. And I think maybe that's just saying third part. It felt rounded. Third part felt rounded. I got it. Okay, so work to deliver a bit more of a march pulse. Third part felt a bit rounded. Okay, give high A's a bit more emphasis. Yeah, in part 4. Well, that is kind of like the high A part. That makes sense. Pipes were well balanced. That's flattering. It makes me feel happy that they seem well balanced. But drones never locked in for you. Well, that's fair. I sure couldn't tell. I was just telling Diana, we were talking after I'd played, that she was just mentioning how like she usually tries to tune and then doesn't tune in front of the judges because she doesn't know if she'll just mess it up or not. And I was just telling her that like, yeah, I can't hear myself anymore when the nerves go up. So there's just no point to me even trying to tune once I'm in front of the judges. So that's okay. I just mean that makes a lot of sense. I believe it. The drones weren't great. I wouldn't have known. I couldn't tell because I can't. I lose the ability to hear things like that when I'm nervous, I guess. You got the hands for a bigger tune, and you're ready for one. Well, that's very flattering. That was very nice of them. Very nice of them. Now let's look at the 6-8. 6-8, I know I got a second place because I've got a medal, so that's exciting. And they have nice medals this year. I feel bad. One of the years that I helped organizing, I think It was even me that placed the order. What we ended up with were basically plastic medals with stickers on them. These ones are like embossed, like they're 3D, and they got a Highland cow on one side and the Payson Scottish Festival logo on the other. Very fancy. A good weight to them. Athol Highlanders, they said upper quartile as well. Very, very flattered. I'm very flattered. Very nice of them. Lovely 6/8 playing, clean hands. Flattered. Very nice of them. Thank you. Tackums in part 4 are a bit too aggressive. See, I was worried about them not being aggressive enough, so I must have overshot the mark, because that is one of the things I was kind of worrying about. So I've been trying to kind of really push them. So probably shouldn't have pushed them quite so far. Pipe's pretty good. Sharpish. Well, fair enough. Again, I wouldn't know, but I believe him. Well, that's awesome. Well, what a very encouraging set of feedback. I feel flattered by that. Now, I'm going to MC a little P-Brock in the Park, and that is a program that Carrie, my bagpipe teacher from high school, she put together and ran the competitions this year, and she gave me the opportunity to MC this little program doing P-Brock in the Park. She was telling me that it happened because maybe it was just last year, maybe the year before. The P-Brock competition was like way behind schedule. And I think, like, I heard about this. I think somebody ended up playing their P-Brock like 9 to midnight, like very late into the night. I think it was just because all the P-Brocks were so long. Because that's what they do, they go long. So she was telling me, though, that she and some others were sitting, at the park last year, or whenever this was. I think it was just last year. And just kind of listening to this happen, kind of from across the park. Late at night, it gets dark, it gets quiet, the park empties out, and these P-Brocks are playing, and they said that was just like their favorite part of the whole weekend. And they thought we should do this. And so they're trying to formalize it. The Payson P-Brock in the Park, or P-Brock Park Night, or Zach's mom was joking that it sounds like peeing in the park, and we could just call it that, peep in the park. But it was really nice. So they got Ross to play 2 P-Brocks, and I'm doing this, I'm driving away right now, but I think I'm going to have this talking in the episode before playing the audio from that, if the audio is good. So I'm mixing up my timeline here. But Ross played a 6/8 that he wrote for Jeff Mann, which is great. Jeff Mann loved 6/8s. I remember him saying once that he's a real 6/8 man. And so he wrote a 6/8 for Jeff, and he played that, and then some P-Brocks, and it really was lovely. This is all happening. So if you listen to it, it's lovely music. But imagine the setting was on the grass in this very shady park with these big, very old trees. It's kind of a grassy bowl area. There's a hill on one side, and there's some chairs. People sitting in camp chairs. Little fairy lights set up in the trees and around the circle, and it's just getting dark. The sun is already gone because of, mountains and stuff here, that we don't see a proper sunset or sunrise. Usually the sun kind of goes behind the mountains, and then the sky just is an ever diminishing glow, shifting in colors and stuff. And that was happening as Ross was playing. It really was very lovely. I hope that this does become a standard thing going forward. A really, really great way to end the evening. Just lovely. Just awesome. I've heard people say before, like, bagpipes are an outdoor instrument and are best heard from a distance. And, obviously I really like bagpipes, so I'm excited to be up close and personal. But yeah, sometimes you hear them from a bit of a distance in a setting like this. It is like, wow, it really, really fits great. I'm not saying that that's the only time the bagpipes are good, but it sure is a good time for them. That's for sure. Sure is good. So here's the plug now. This, messy as it is, this might have been the most boring episode the podcast has ever had be published. I'm a little bit embarrassed about parts of it. I feel very vulnerable about all of it, but I still am, I'm doing it just like I did last year, because I'm interested in hearing this kind of thing from someone else. So I'm trying to convince myself that, like, if I'd be interested in hearing it from someone else, then maybe it's not that terrible for me to put it out as well. And so here's the invitation. If you would be willing and interested, grab a recording device, and as you're getting ready for your next competition or performance of any kind, or even just learning a tune or something, make me a little monologue, diary of the process and capture some snatches of music and some snatches of what you're thinking and preparations and setbacks and all of that, and send it over, and we'll put it together into an episode, and it could be fun. Anyway, thank you again for listening to the show and for being around, and I hope you're having a great day or great evening. Yep. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what we hope is going to become a cherished new tradition here in Payson. Tonight marks the very first ever evening of Pibroch performance, or Pibroch in the Park. This is a special event dedicated to one of the oldest musical traditions from the Scottish Highlands. Tonight we invite you to slow down and experience the music of the great Highland bagpipe in one of its most expressive forms, Pibroch, which some refer to as the classical music of the Highland bagpipe. This is a centuries-old and contemporarily important, story-filled, unique form of music. Our solo piper, Ross, will guide us through several of these remarkable pieces of music. Unlike the lively marches and strathspeys, reels, and jigs that we've heard during the solo competitions earlier this evening, Pibroch unfolds gradually and tends to give a more contemplative or meditative vibe. Whether you're hearing this music for the first time or have appreciated it for many years, we hope that you'll enjoy the beauty, emotion, and tradition that it carries. So thank you all for being a part of this. We hope that this becomes an important part of the Payson Scottish Festival for years to come. Please join me in welcoming our solo piper. This is one of our esteemed judges for the weekend's competition, and he is a skilled player and maker of the pipes large and small, Ross Morrill. Clap your hands for Ross, everybody. Now, before we start this evening's program of Pibroch, we would like to pause just a moment to honor the memory of a man whose influence reached countless pipers and drummers and whose passion for Scottish music left a lasting mark on our community. Earlier this year, we lost Jeff Mann. He was a teacher, mentor, competitor, organizer, and friend to so many. His dedication to preserving and promoting this music inspired generations of musicians, and his generosity with his time and knowledge has helped to shape the traditions that we continue to celebrate today. While we miss him very much, his legacy lives on in every musician that he encouraged, in so many good memories, and in every local gathering where the sound of the pipes brings people together. To pay tribute to Jeff this evening, Ross is going to perform a 6/8 march for us that was composed in Jeff's honor. I remember hearing Jeff say at one of the Glen Wild recitals up at the Salt Lake Library that he is a 6/8 man, so I think this is a very fitting tribute. Ross, will you tell us what it's called, maybe, and anything else you want to say about it?
The Pibroch is called From the Depths.
Is this a Pibroch or
6/8. This is a 6/8 called From the Depths that I wrote in memory of Jeff Mann. And he loved 6/8s, and he liked darker 6/8s too, so that's kind of what it is. After that, I will start the Pibroch by playing a Pibroch called Park Pibroch number 2, which I thought was fitting because we have this great park to enjoy the games in.
Awesome. Let's clap one more time for Ross. Here we go. That was the 6/8. Ross is now just getting ready to go into the first pibroch. All right, I have a big round of applause for Ross. That takes a lot, not just a lot of air, but a lot of focus. Ross, do you have one more for us tonight? Sure. Okay, to give Ross just a moment to recover, I'll say just a couple other words about the art form, and then Ross will play us one more. Some have said that pibroch should be considered the classical music of the Highland bagpipe. Others have said that it's more at home in the company of more improvisational genres of music. In any case, the name simply means piping, and today it refers to this unique musical tradition that dates back several centuries. Many of the examples of pibroch that we have today were created between the 16th and 18th centuries, and they were passed on from teacher to student orally long before they were ever written down. You might have noticed that a pibroch starts out with a very simple expression of the melody. This is called the urlar, or the ground. This is the foundation of the composition, and from there the piper develops that melody over and over again through a series of increasingly intricate variations. Each one adds more more technicality and complexity while preserving the character of the ground, and then at the end, as you might have noticed there, we return to the ground again. So, some have also said that this genre of music, pibroch, rewards careful listening. It's maybe analogous to watching the changing colors on a mountain at sunset. The beauty's found in these subtle changes rather than in dramatic contrasts. And we're especially fortunate this evening to be able to hear these pieces performed by Ross. He's one of the best pipers in our local community, and reaching this level of artistry requires years of dedicated study. And performing pibroch is considered one of the highest artistic achievements for Highland piper. It demands both technical prowess and musical interpretation. So thank you all again for joining us for our very first Payson Pibroch in the Park. I may be taking liberties with the name there, but the first of these gatherings. We hope that it's been enjoyable. And Ross, do you want to say something about the next one? Do you want me to say more? Are you ready?
Sure. The next one doesn't have a name. It's called Nameless. When a pibroch tune is nameless, it's typically named after the first phrase of its cantric, or the sung version of it. So this one is called He Hodro Tro.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ross. Here we go. Beautiful. Thank you again, Ross. This concludes the Primo Payson Park Pibroch program for tonight. On behalf of the Payson Scottish Festival, we thank you all for sharing it with us. And one more special thanks to our solo piper. Let's give Ross one more round of applause. We'd like to thank all the volunteers, organizers, sponsors, and supporters who have worked hard to make this concert possible. And we hope to see more people.